welcome back to my channel. Okay, so I'm currently working on the Saturn through the Houses series as well as my compatibility series, but it dawned on me, an idea came to me last night about helping you guys learn how to read your birth charts. Yeah, so I'm currently working on my services on my channel and really revamping them, but I thought, why not release a couple of videos to help you guys, you know, so that you can actually read your chart or read your friend's chart, your family member's chart, whoever's chart. So today's video is going to include the basics of astrology. So we're going to be looking at the planets, the symbols and glyphs, the signs, the houses, the modalities, elements, anything else I can remember. Yes, I think that's about it. However, with this video, I'm going to be showing you how to blend them all. Okay, so it's not just separately, but how does a planet and a sign in a house blend together to translate. And then as we move on into the intermediate video, we're going to be looking at interceptions, retrogrades, stelliums, the chart ruler, dominant signs and planets. And then with the advanced video of how to read a birth chart, we're going to be looking at aspects, degrees, and then also connecting. So it's how the signs and the planets and the houses, how they all connect. So that's going to be a very, that's going to be the bigger picture. So the purpose of the basics is looking at those smaller details, and then as we go throughout these videos, it's just going to get wider and wider and wider, and you're just going to see this chart as a whole. Alright, so the first thing I want you guys to do, because you're my students, technically. Okay, I'm just being silly. But the first thing that I really recommend that you do with this video today is to get a pen, get some paper, or even get a whiteboard if you have one. I have this board here. It's got a marker. Whatever, just something you can write on. Also, feel free to pause this video at any time. I'm going to go through it as slowly as I can. What I want you guys to do is to create your own table. And the way to sort of illustrate this table is by dividing it into the planets, the signs, and the houses. And it's going to be lined up so that it goes with the sun first of all, and then it goes outer. Alright? And as we go across, it's going to show the rulership. So the sun rules Leo and rules 5th house. Moon, Cancer, 4th house. So they're all in their rulership. And what I've done is I've put the symbols or the glyphs for the planets so that you can locate them within your chart. And then I've also put the glyphs and symbols for the signs. But I've also put little tiny words here just to say for, you know, Leo, lion, and Cancer, crab. I mean, if I was to look at this and I was new to astrology and I saw just like the Virgo symbol, for example, I wouldn't have a clue. Another thing though about the table is that Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn, these planets, they rule 2 signs. So Mars co-rules Scorpio, Jupiter co-rules Pisces, and then Saturn co-rules Aquarius. And then what I've done is I've added in, so Scorpio, its modern day ruler is Pluto in the glyph, with Pisces, the modern day ruler is Neptune, so put in the glyph. And then with Aquarius, the modern day ruler is Uranus, and then I put in that glyph as well. So ultimately, Mars rules Aries, but co-rules Scorpio. Jupiter rules Sagittarius, but co-rules Pisces. And then Saturn rules Capricorn, but co-rules Aquarius. And then lastly, I put the houses along the side here. And what I've done with that is I've placed the IC, the DC, the AC, and the MC just along those main angular points. Okay, because you'll notice in your chart that that's what's written, that there's the 4 points when it comes to longitude and latitude. And those letters are written for each one. So that way you're going to know that the IC is to do with the 4th house, the Emum Coli, the DC is to do with the 7th house, the descendant, the AC is to do with the 1st house, the ascendant, and then the MC is to do with the 10th house, the midheaven. When it comes to the likes of Chiron and the North Node, South Node, of course, because they show up in the default birth chart readings. So what I recommend you do is just to have little extras. So even if you do have more room at the bottom of your page, or if you want to make this smaller, just have a little box at the bottom or wherever that says extras on it. And where it says extras then include Chiron with its glyph, and then also the North and South Node with their glyphs. I have included Lilith on this for the extras as well, because I have been talking about Lilith within my Lilith in the Sign series. And then there's also the asteroids. So I believe Chiron is an asteroid, but it's more by default, if that makes sense, in the chart's already there. Whereas these other asteroids, you have to physically add them, I believe, in the additional objects. At least that's the way it is on astro.com. Even with Lilith, I believe you have to add as an additional object. But still, if you want to add in then the asteroids, so we have Ceres, Vesta, Juno, and Pallas. However, when it does come to their rulership and things like that, well, North Node, South Node, they don't rule anything. But when it comes to the others, that's up for debate. To be honest, I don't really associate any of them with having a rulership over any sign. Now that's just my own personal opinion at the moment. It could change, but there we go. So after creating for yourself some sort of table or diagram or whatever it may be, whatever way, whatever system you have of being able to remember all of that, after you've done that, then we're looking at the planetary powers. So addressing detriment, exaltation, and fall. And I've made this little table here as well. Again, we have the planets all written down the side. And then when it comes to detriment, basically what that means is the sign opposite the ruler. So we could see with the sun, it rules Leo, but the sign opposite Leo is Aquarius. Therefore, the sun is in detriment in the sign of Aquarius. So you're basically just writing in the opposite signs all down here. And then when it comes to exaltation and fall, you'll see that the sun is exalted in the sign of Aries, but then it falls in the sign of Libra. And the way that works is, again, opposites. That's why I put those little arrows in there. So the opposite of Aries is Libra, and then I put in an arrow going up to show exaltation, and then to show fall, fall. Though I would like to highlight that with Neptune and Pluto, these are just my own sort of personal opinions when it comes to the exaltation and fall. I've done it as Neptune being exalted in Sagittarius, and then fall in Gemini. And then with Pluto, I've done it as exalted in Leo, and in fall in Aquarius. So what I would like to highlight when it comes to planetary powers is, if you see that, for example, you have your moon in Scorpio, meaning it's in its fall, please don't just assume that that's bad or negative. All placements come with their challenges, and as well, it is dependent on the person, like the individual, and how they choose to express or utilize that energy. Every placement has its sort of fluctuation between positive and negative, because it really depends at the frequency that the person, the individual, is vibrating at. Hope that made sense. And lastly, guys, the final table that I recommend that you create, or whatever way you want to do it, just so you have all the information there in front of you, right? We've got elements, modes or qualities, and the trinities, so houses. What we've done here is we have fire, earth, air, and water, and then the 3 signs within each. And then their modes, modalities. So cardinal, fixed, mutable. And what I've personally done is I've made little symbols for these as well. And then at the very bottom of the page, what I did was I put a little star at the bottom here, just to keep me right, is I've done the arrow. So the arrow up, it can be whatever way it needs to be. It's just to show cardinal energy. The arrow is initiate, so cardinal signs, they initiate. Then with fixed, I've done the line with this sort of barriers, like, you know, it's fixed in it. So that's persist. I've added it down here. Maybe I should just show you guys. Oh, yes, okay. And then with mutable, I've done all arrows, like which way, which direction are we going? That's why in the thumbnail for my mutable signs video, I was like, which way are we going here? And I put that as adapt. So initiate, cardinal, persist, fixed, and adapt for mutable. And then we move on to the houses. So we have Aries, that rules first house, Leo rules the 5th house, Sagittarius rules the 9th house. But then even the houses, the first house, so the 1st, the 10th, and the 7th, and the 4th houses, they are all angular houses, okay? Then the 5th, the 2nd, the 11th, and the 8th, they are all succedent houses, so you write that in. And then the 9th, the 6th, the 3rd, and the 12th, they're all cadent houses. And the way I've done it, so to remember them, is I've done an AC, which is to show action, okay? Angular houses are action. Then I've done an S for the succeeding houses to suggest sustainment. And then for the cadent houses, I've done an AD. So instead of AC for angular, we're doing AD for cadent, because cadent houses are about adjusting. And then at the bottom here again, we've done the little star, and then that shows us again, it keeps us on track. And then to finalize it, right, as a collective, as a whole, fire signs, fire houses, the trinity of creation and spirit. Earth signs, earth houses, the trinity of the physical and matter. We've got the air signs and the air houses, to do with the trinity of communication and relationships. And lastly, we have the water signs and the water houses, and that's to do with the trinity of emotions and the soul. Alright, so now you've created all of these tables and you've gathered up all of this information. Now what I want you to do is just have it all in front of you. Have it all in front of you for this next part. And if you have a birth chart, go right ahead. You can open up your birth chart, have a look at it, and you will clearly see on your birth chart, or whosever chart it is, that there's going to be those two wheels. There's the outer wheel and the inner wheel. In the outer wheel, we have the signs, and then the inner wheel, we've got the planets. Basically have all of these laid out in front of you then. And let's say, for example, in your chart, you have moon in Cancer. It could just be that the moon just pops out at you at first in your chart, because that's what can happen a lot when it comes to astrology, especially if you're new to astrology. You just see, oh, what's this symbol mean? Or what does that mean? Okay. You do have your moon in the sign of Cancer. We can quickly see here, moon, it rules Cancer. And the symbol of Cancer is the crab. And then when we go down here, we can also locate Cancer. We know that it's a cardinal sign, meaning that if we go over here, because the symbol of going up, cardinal is to initiate, and then we can see that that's to do with the trinity of emotions, so to initiate emotions, right? But then this is the moon in Cancer going into the 8th house. So if we look at this information again, we go here, we can see the 8th house. The 8th house is ruled by Scorpio in astrology. And then when we go down here, we can see 8th house. And so this confirms it. It's ruled by Scorpio. And then we look to see that the 8th house is a succedent house. We see this S, and the S means sustain. But what we ultimately notice is that Moon in Cancer in the 8th house is very much water-based, because here's Cancer, 8th house, and it's to do with this trinity, emotions and the soul. Now, this is when things get interesting, because I'm going to provide you guys with the way to remember the planets, the signs, and the houses. I want you to think of the planets as actors, and then I want you to think of the signs as the character or the style of the actor, and then I want you to think of the houses as the scene or the stage set in which the actor is performing. If you see that you have your moon in the sign of Cancer in the 8th house, because when you look at your chart you'll be able to see that there's 12 pizza slices around or in your chart. That's what I like to call them, pizza slices or cake slices, whatever one. Both are pretty good. I prefer cake personally, but you will notice on the chart where the number 8 is, that's the 8th house. Now, strongly keeping in mind here that what I'm about to say is not taking into consideration interceptions. We're going to talk about interceptions in the intermediate video. So it could be that Cancer or the moon is intercepted here, but for the purpose of this video, it's not. And the planet could be in retrograde. Now, the moon doesn't go retrograde, the sun doesn't go retrograde either. But if you are looking at a certain planet and it has a little R symbol, it means it's retrograde. But we're going to talk about retrogrades in the intermediate video as well. Now, of course, it's up to you guys to research what the moon represents, what the characteristics of Cancer are, and what area of life does the 8th house show. There's a lot of information out there to show you these things, guys, and even my channel, right? Go watch these videos. What I'm going to do personally is I'm going to break all of these down and then show you how they blend. Though if you would like to put little keywords with a pen or just add it in there, you could always do that. So for the houses, you could write down a couple of words, you know, just like I did within my tables. But it's up to you, right? It's just whatever way you learn, or whatever way is best for you. So we've got the actor, that is the moon. And so the moon is to nurture, is to give care, is to feel. It's to do with our emotions, it's to do with our inner world, it's to do with the relationship with our mother, or how we give or give care. This right here is the energy of the moon. It's who this actor is in concern. Then when it comes to Cancer, the sign of Cancer, and some of the characteristics that come with Cancer would be sensitive, nurturing, receptive, emotional, intuitive. So we've got our actor and we've got the characteristics of the actor, and we're blending them together. And this right here is going to create a highly sensitive and emotional individual, someone who is extremely caring and receptive to other people's needs because they feel a need to give care. But then we're getting this blend and we're putting it into this 8th house. We're placing the actor onto this stage set, that is the 8th house. And the 8th house is about shared resources. It's about death, loss, rebirth, transformation, regeneration, sex, intimacy, psychology, emotions related with partnering. Ultimately, this is showing us where this actor is performing. We're blending it all together again. And what this suggests is that this is going to be a person who possesses a strong need to give to their partner, a strong need for intimacy and emotional connections with their partner. They need that connection. They might transform their partner by helping them to open up emotionally. They might find that they have to reassure their sexual partner or cater to their sexual needs. Perhaps their sexual partner brings out potential qualities of them being overbearing or clingy. These are just some possibilities. So far we've gathered that the planet is the actor, the sign is the character of the actor, and the house is the stage set of the actor. It's all of these things that are being blended in order to create the show, to create the scene. However, question, which sign is ruling the 8th house? In order to see which sign is ruling that house, what I recommend you do is look to see where that number 8 is, and then locate the line that is coming in that inner circle and it's connecting with a certain sign. This will basically show you which sign is ruling that house, or which sign is on the house cusp, as others like to refer it as. Basically, it's showing you which sign is starting that house. So does Cancer line with the 8th house, or does another sign? Maybe Gemini rules that house or starts the 8th house for you in your birth chart. What does that mean exactly? The easiest way to put it is that the actor or the planet on the stage set or in that house isn't the only actor on that stage, but another actor is coming along and is wanting to take the lead, or it could be more looked at as directed. It could be seen perhaps that whichever sign is ruling that house is directing any planets in the house, but also just directing that house in general. So back to our paper. I said that Gemini is ruling the 8th house. Now we look to see Gemini is firstly up here. We can see that its symbol is the twins. It's ruled by Mercury. And then we go down here, we can see that Gemini is an air sign. It's a mutable sign. Therefore, mutable means adaptable, but still it's ruling the 8th house. So 8th house is a succeeding house. But because Gemini is ruling the 8th house, it means then that Mercury, because Mercury rules Gemini in astrology, Mercury is ruling the 8th house in this instance. Looking at the planet, aka the actor, or even possibly you could look at it as a director in this instance, either way, there's still a form of activity, there's something happening. Mercury is to do with thinking, communication, gaining and combining ideas and information. In Gemini, some of the characteristics that come with Gemini would be mentally quick, curious, adaptable, versatile, distracted easily, and multi-dimensional. And it's this energy that is ruling that 8th house, meaning that this person, they might think about sex and intimacy, they may want to talk about sex with their partner, maybe they enjoy writing about it, maybe they enjoy bringing information forward about it. Perhaps they enjoy getting information about death and psychology, and they're really curious about learning about how the human mind works, you know, when it comes to psychology. Perhaps they're curious about the occult, or it could be that they adapt well to transformative experiences or learning experiences that really get them to dig into their psyche. However, this is Gemini ruling the 8th house, directing this moon in Cancer in the 8th house as explained. So what might happen? So Gemini ruling the 8th house might say to the moon in Cancer during this same set, alright, when it comes to this 8th house, alright, let's sit down and write about how we're feeling. Let's not just talk about sex with our partner, but let's explain to him or her or other that we need to feel emotionally embracing with one another in the bedroom. Let's take all of this information that we learn about death or psychology, but also intuitively understand it. And if we feel ourselves becoming emotionally drained by what we're learning, well, then we'll know. We will know to step back. Even when it comes to the sexual partner for this person, or when it comes to debt or investments, because they may just sort of think about it too much, okay? That can sort of happen where they may get into these mental muddles. I also think that it's important for them to learn not to become emotionally dependent when it comes to these things, but at the same time, it's having the curiosity about them, or having their head screwed on in relation to these things, whilst also validating how they feel in relation to them as well. Ultimately, I think with Gemini ruling the 8th house with the Cancer moon in the 8th house there. It's a combination of both the logic and the intuition, where it's about sex and intimacy and shared resources and about death and rebirth, in order to create these things in an informative and caring way. Okay, so I hope that that was a good way to show you how to blend the different energies together. Though what I would like to say here is that if you don't have any planets in that house, and say for example it's just Gemini ruling the 8th house, still research Mercury and Gemini with the 8th house and blend it. But also, right, look to your chart to see where Mercury is placed. Now, I personally think that even if the house is empty or it has other planets in there, it's still important to look to see where Mercury is regardless, because it's still going to tell you something, which we're going to get to in the advanced section of these videos. But if you do have an empty house, technically, yes, the house is empty, but there's still a sign ruling that house, and it's wanting to sort of direct the sign that's in it or ruling it is wanting to direct itself in a way in that stage set in that house. I hope that made sense. Okay guys, so yeah, that concludes the basic section of how to read a birth chart. I hope that this was easy to understand and you're able to follow along with me, okay? I know I didn't actually show you a birth chart, which I know it's probably like, well, why not show us a birth chart? But you know, I also think that having them written like that is a good idea, because it means that when you look at your chart, it's there, and then you can just go back and forth from your notes to and from, right? Trust me, if you have all of the basics down and everything out in front of you, you're gonna find it a lot easier to read the chart, because you're not gonna be going back and forth and be like, oh, what does this mean, what does this mean, and going up into all of these multiple websites, or like all putting your head into all these books. You're gonna have like one set thing that you can use, and that's what I recommend. It doesn't have to be the way I've done it. You can have it where it's a big long piece of paper. I even recommend that. Yeah, a big long sheet, and it has all of it written, so that when you're looking at a chart, you can just like, oh, this is here, this is here, this is here, this is here, right? And of course, I recommend having those keywords for the houses, keywords for the signs, keywords for the planets, and that way you'll be able to know, because that's what I did throughout this video. I said a couple of keywords, so I recommend doing that as well. I hope that you're able to find this video to be useful or somewhat helpful. I know it maybe seemed a bit scattered, but I really hope that I hope that it was constructed in a way that you were able to understand and keep up with me. So let me know if that was okay, please. Yeah, I just think that it's easiest to break it down as simply as possible and then show you how they all blend together, and then we'll work out from there. You sort of just see the bigger picture, which is your chart, go in those smaller details, and then expand out again. So you gotta whoop in, out again. Thank you all so much for watching. Thank you for subscribing, and if you like to see more videos from me, then go right ahead and click that subscribe button, and I will be back with the intermediate video or another video very, very soon.